Chosen ones, there is a silent witness in your life. A presence that never sleeps, a lens that never blinks. You're being watched, not by a stranger in the shadows, but by something far closer, by the hidden observer within you, the one that sees through every habit, every thought, every moment you try to escape. I am Shi Heng Yi, and today, we're going to reveal a truth. The world rarely speaks of the invisible camera that records everything, not for judgment, but for mastery. This is not about paranoia. It is about awakening, a reminder that every action, every emotion, every reaction is not lost. It's imprinted, stored in the inner temple of your mind. In Shaolin teachings, awareness is not passive, it's a living force. The monks of old trained not just for combat but for consciousness. They used each movement, each breath, as a way to stay awake to the watcher within. You'll learn today how to see through this inner lens and how to stop running from it. You'll discover how your own mind acts as both the camera and the recording, how your thoughts build the world you walk in, and how mastering observation builds unshakable discipline. We'll explore the shadow side of self-awareness, the forgotten practice of spiritual surveillance, and the freedom that comes when you stop fearing your own reflection. Stay with me till the end, because once you see the world through the eyes of the hidden observer, your life will never be the same again. Welcome to our channel Shaolin Soulfire. If you seek clarity, truth and inner power, subscribe now and light the fire within. There is a quiet pattern shaping your life, chosen one you rarely see, yet one that shapes everything you do. It's the lens of habit, the invisible rhythm that decides how you move, how you react, even how you think. And today, let us look through that silent lens. In the Shaolin tradition, habit is not something to escape, it is something to train. When a monk practices the same stance 1,000 times, it is not mindless repetition, it is mindful refinement. Each motion is a message to the body, each breath is a lesson for the mind. Over time, the habit becomes the master, and the master becomes the habit. Think of your own life. How many actions have you turned into autopilot sequences? The way you reach for your phone when you wake up, the emotions you repeat when someone disagrees with you, the thoughts you replay when nobody is watching. These are the recordings of habit. These are the subconscious programs that run your life without your permission. But the Shaolin path is different. It teaches us to take back the camera, to reframe the habit. When you become conscious of your autopilot, you can change the script. The reaction becomes a choice. The trigger becomes a tool. The habit becomes a pathway to mastery. So, instead of letting your habits record a life of reaction, start choosing habits that record a life of intention, through repetition, not regret, through awakening, not avoidance. The lens isn't the enemy, it's the teacher. The question is, are you watching or just being watched? In the quiet spaces between thoughts, there is a presence that watches without judgment, a stillness that doesn't rush to label or react. This is the true camera, not the eye, but the awareness behind it. Mindfulness isn't merely seeing the world, it's noticing how the world enters the mind. It's the space between the sight and the story, the event and the emotion. In Shaolin wisdom, this space is sacred. Every stance, every breath, every seemingly simple action is an invitation to return to this presence. A monk standing in horse stance is not just building leg strength, he is anchoring the mind in the moment. The breath moving slowly through the body is not just air, it is discipline flowing through the veins of consciousness. When the body is still, the mind is revealed. When the mind is still, the truth is seen. Too often, we see life through a lens smeared by fear, memory, or expectation. The hidden camera of awareness records not what's happening, but how we think it's happening. We become trapped in our own interpretations. But with mindful presence, the lens becomes clean. We no longer fear being watched by others or by ourselves, for we stand in the clarity of who we truly are. Presence is the gateway to inner mastery. It quiets the mind so that wisdom can speak. It removes the need to flee or defend, because nothing needs to be added to this moment for it to be complete. When you live like this, every step, every breath becomes a meditation. Every moment becomes a teacher. The camera is no longer hidden. It's right here, in the clarity of your awareness, waiting for you to awaken to it. There is no camera more powerful than the one you carry in your mind, not made of glass or metal, but of attention, memory, and interpretation. Every moment of your life is filtered through this device. Your thoughts, your beliefs, your past. And unless you master it, it will master you. In the old Shaolin temples, warriors were not only trained in physical form, they were trained to refine the instrument of perception. Their greatest battlefield was not outside, but within. It was not enough to see clearly, they had to understand clearly. The mind had to become an ally, not an enemy. Consider how your mind reacts to a simple event. One person cuts you off in traffic, and your mind may react with anger. A word from someone close may trigger doubt or pain. But the event is not the problem, it's the device interpreting it. It's the camera of thought, tinted by old wounds, snapping the same reaction over and over again. When the mind becomes automatic, we lose our power. But when we take responsibility for the device, when we choose where to focus, what to record, how to understand, then we reclaim our role as creator, not captive. The Shaolin master cleans the lens of the mind through meditation, presence, and disciplined thought, not to escape the world, but to see it as it truly is, clean, unfiltered, whole. The question is not whether life is watching you. It always is. The real question is who is behind the lens. Are you a conscious director of the film of your life, or just an actor reacting to someone else's script? Personal mastery begins the moment you take back the mind, not by force, but through gentle, persistent awareness. The world today is a storm of noise. Notifications, opinions, hurried voices, endless movement. We live surrounded by signals, and the mind, like an untiring camera, records it all, with no pause, no filter, no mercy. But the ancient Shaolin masters understood something we have almost forgotten. True sight requires silence. It is not the eyes that need rest, it is the mind. Silence isn't emptiness, it is recalibration. It is the sharpening of the inner lens, so that what is essential becomes visible again. In the early mornings at the temple, monks would wake before sunrise, not to rush, but to settle, to let the stillness of dawn reset the rhythm of their being. The world was quiet, and in that quiet, the mind opened, thoughts slowed. The inner camera, no longer overwhelmed, began to see with depth and clarity. We don't need mountains or temples to do this. What we need is discipline, the courage to withdraw from chaos, even for a moment, and return to ourselves, to turn off the noise so we can hear the voice within. The lens of your mind cannot capture truth if it is buried beneath clutter. Arguments replaying from yesterday, worries borrowed from tomorrow, the opinions of others living rent-free in your head. All of it adds fog to the inner vision. But when you choose silence, even a few breaths of it, the fog begins to lift. When you simplify your environment, you simplify your mind, and in that simplicity, everything becomes more vibrant, more real. The external world is loud, but the truth is always quiet. If you can silence the world long enough, you will see it, waiting, not outside, but in the stillness of your own lens. There is a profound moment on the path of self-mastery when you begin to realize there are two of you, the one who acts and the one who watches, the observed and the observer. In Shaolin philosophy, this is not a divide, but a dance. When a monk practices forms, the body moves in precision, but the mind remains still, watchful, sensing every breath, every shift of weight, every ripple of thought. This is metacognition, the awareness of awareness, the camera observing not just the world, but itself. In our everyday lives, we often live only as the observed, the body reacting, the emotions firing, the thoughts running wild. But there is another part of us, the silent witness always present, the one who notices the anger rise, the shoulders tense, the heart race. That presence is the observer, the inner sage, untouched by the storm of reaction. True mastery is not choosing one over the other. It is uniting them. It is collapsing the distance between the one who acts and the one who watches. When the observer and the observed become one, life becomes a fluid expression of consciousness, not reaction but response. not habit but awareness in motion. Picture a calm lake. Its surface reflects everything without distortion. That is your mind when the observer and observed move as one. You live, you act, you feel, but all of it is seen clearly, without confusion, without resistance. To bridge this gap is to become whole, to live fully present, fully alive, knowing you are both the dancer and the one witnessing the dance. This is the art of inner alignment, where the camera no longer watches from a distance, but becomes the very light through which you live. Attention is the quiet force that shapes your entire life. It is the unseen director of experience, the place where the hidden camera of your awareness chooses to aim, and in that choice lies both power and destiny. In Shaolin practice, attention is not scattered. It does not drift with emotion or distraction. It is anchored. When a monk strikes, the mind is in the fist. When he breathes, the mind is in the breath. When he stands still, the mind becomes the ground beneath him. Attention is a beam of light, sharp, intentional, unbroken. Yet in the world outside the temple, our attention is often stolen, pulled by screens, pulled by noise, pulled by the past, by the future. The lens of the mind keeps shifting, never holding still long enough to see clearly or act with depth. But to live as a chosen one means becoming the master of this lens. It means directing attention the way a warrior directs a blade, with precision, with purpose, with presence. Where you place your attention, life forms around it. Focus on fear, and the world grows darker. Focus on discipline, and strength begins to take root. Focus on truth, and everything false starts to fall away. The world doesn't shape you. You shape the world by what you choose to attend to. To focus is to create. To choose your attention is to claim your path. Be like the Shaolin master. Let each breath be an opportunity to return your attention to where it matters. Let every stance be a reminder that attention is not passive. It's a weapon of clarity, a tool of transformation, a mark of sovereignty. Where you point the lens, your life will follow. There is a certain clarity that arises when you live as though the camera is always on, not in fear, but in truth. When you realize that every thought, every action is silently recorded, not just by life itself, but by the deeper part of you that is always aware. Integrity then becomes more than a rule, it becomes a way of being. In Shaolin ethics, this inner alignment is sacred. A monk does not act with honesty when others are watching. He acts with honesty because the soul witnesses all. Humility is not practiced to be seen. It is practiced to remain unshaken by praise or blame. Perseverance is not a show of endurance. It is the discipline of honoring one's word even when the world is silent. To live authentically under the gaze of the hidden camera means to stand in your own truth, even when no one sees. To choose what is right, not just what is easy. Your life becomes the monastery, and every moment a test of integrity, not out of pressure, but out of devotion to your highest self. Because the camera that matters most isn't outside, it's inside. And what it knows, you know. If your outer actions clash with inner knowing, you feel the fracture. That is the pain of misalignment, of betraying your own witness. But when your actions reflect your truth, peace follows. The inner observer nods. The outer self stands tall. Nothing needs to be hidden, because nothing is false. Integrity is not perfection. It is the daily practice of living as one, as body, mind, and spirit aligned. Not acting for the lens, but from the center of your being. Then the silent recording becomes a testimony not of what you pretended to be, but of who you truly are. Fear is a quiet shadow that follows us when we sense the gaze of the unseen. The thought of being exposed, of having every flaw and hesitation recorded, can tighten the chest, cloud the mind, and shrink the spirit. Yet in Shaolin wisdom, fear is not a barrier, it is a teacher. It is the first signal that mastery is calling. The monks of old did not seek to erase fear. They moved through it. Every stance, every leap, every strike was an exercise in meeting the unknown without retreat. They understood that the hidden camera, the inner witness, records not just what is visible, but the energy behind each action, the hesitation, the courage, the shadow, the light. When we recognize this, the nature of exposure begins to change. The camera no longer becomes a judge of weakness, but a mirror of truth. It sees what we resist and what we embrace. It reveals both our shadows and our brilliance. And in seeing both, we learn that fear only has power when we grant it the lens. True freedom emerges when the fear of being watched dissolves into conscious expression. Then, movement is no longer defensive. Words flow without armor. Choices arise from clarity, not concealment. You begin to act, not to hide, not to protect, but to reveal your strength, your insight, your essence. The path of mastery asks for this courage, to let the hidden camera witness you fully while you remain centered, calm, and sovereign, to transform fear into fuel, restraint into release, and uncertainty into clarity. In this way, exposure becomes liberation, and every action, every breath becomes a declaration of power, expressed not from anxiety, but from the unshakable foundation of the awakened mind. There comes a moment on the path of mastery when life itself becomes a mirror, and every action is both recorded and observed. The hidden camera is no longer a threat nor a shadow to fear. It is a tool, silently capturing the evolution of the self. To live the observed life is to step fully into awareness, letting each breath, each movement, each choice be intentional and alive. Through the discipline of habit, the focus of attention, the clarity of presence, and the steadfastness of integrity, the path of Shaolin training merges seamlessly with daily existence. Standing, walking, speaking, even sitting, everything becomes part of practice, not separate from it. There is no division between the temple and the world outside. Life itself becomes the dojo. The observed life asks for more than action. It asks for reflection. The hidden lens watches, not to punish, but to reveal patterns, strengths, and areas that still require cultivation. With patience, you learn to witness yourself with the calm impartiality of a master. Moments of frustration, doubt, or distraction are not failures. They are lessons. And the more you observe without judgment, the deeper your understanding becomes. Purpose emerges naturally from this awareness. Choices are no longer random or reactive. They are guided by the inner compass, shaped by the clarity gained from conscious observation. Each step, each decision, each encounter carries weight, not because of obligation, but because of intentionality. This is the essence of Shaolin wisdom applied, the integration of inner mastery into every layer of life. The camera is never outside, it is within. And when you live as both the watcher and the watched, life unfolds not as chaos, but as a deliberate expression of growth, presence, and power. In this harmony, true freedom is found. Every action, every choice, leaves a trace, even if no one else sees it. In the quiet halls of Shaolin monasteries, monks understood this deeply. Their movements, their discipline, their presence, all were recorded silently, not in ink or film, but in the resonance of their being. This is the legacy of the silent witness, a life observed, not by the world, but by the consciousness that perceives all. The monks did not seek recognition. They did not perform for applause or approval. Each stance, each breath, each act of humility was offered to the greater rhythm of life. Their legacy was not in trophies or stories told aloud. It was in the invisible thread of mastery woven through time. Every moment of presence strengthened that thread, connecting generations, silently teaching the principles of integrity, patience, and awareness. Your own life, too, is a recording, whether you notice it or not. The hidden camera is not a source of fear, it is a reminder. Every decision, every thought, every reaction contributes to the tapestry of your evolution. Like the monks, you are building a legacy that cannot be measured by external eyes, a quiet testament to growth and presence. To live consciously under observation is to embrace accountability, not as pressure but as guidance. Each moment becomes a chance to refine, to rise, to move closer to your highest self. The silent witness is patient, impartial, and unwavering. It honors effort over outcome, awareness over distraction, and courage over fear. In this way, being watched transforms. It is no longer a threat, no longer a shadow lurking over life. It is the eternal reminder that you are becoming, that every choice matters, that your life, quietly observed, can leave a mark far deeper than any visible record ever could. As we reach the end of this journey, remember this: the hidden camera is not outside of you, it is the lens of your own mind, shaped by habit, attention, and integrity. Shaolin teachings guide us to be both the watcher and the watched, to move with presence, discipline, and mindfulness. When you learn to redirect this inner lens from fear toward purpose, from seeking approval to embracing your own truth, you step into personal mastery. Each moment becomes an opportunity to act with clarity, to respond rather than react, and to live in alignment with your highest self. Carry this awareness into your daily life. Notice your habits, direct your attention with intention, and let integrity guide your choices. Allow the silent observer within to be your companion, not your judge. With each step, you build authenticity, resilience, and a quiet legacy that echoes far beyond what any eye can see. May this insight inspire calm, focus, and conscious action in every part of your day. If this message resonates, show your support by liking this video and subscribing to our channel Shaolin Soulfire, so that together we can continue walking the path of presence, mastery, and inner light.